It's hard to talk about having perfect pitch without coming across as boastful or arrogant or just that guy who has to go around telling everybody he's got perfect pitch. Yet at the same time, it's hard to talk about it negatively because I'm sure most musicians could only dream of having it. So perfect pitch is the rare ability for someone to hear a note and immediately know what note that is. For example, someone could play a key on the piano and someone else with perfect pitch who's walking by could instantly know what note that is. Now obviously as a musician this would be a very good skill to have because you could hear a song and instantly know what chord progressions are in it, what keys are being used, what scales you could use to solo over it or jam over it. And even when it comes to things like music production, pitch shifting or vocal correcting or even transposing become way easier. Not to mention it's such a quirky skill to have in real life. For example, you might realize your blender churns at E flat, or that when you're on a train and it stops, the doors close and it beeps out an F4 or something like that. However, and this is the part I really want to make not sound like a first world problem, having perfect pitch isn't everything. In fact, it actually comes with its own drawbacks as a musician. Now, for the longest time, having perfect pitch actually affected my confidence to sing. And I know this sounds crazy, but hear me out. As you can hear, naturally, I've got quite a low voice. And what that means is that if this was the average singing range, then mine would be somewhere probably down here. I can easily hit low notes, like lower than average, but when it comes to singing at the normal range for most pop or like R&B or any popular song you hear nowadays, I struggle a lot. For reference, and for all the music nerds out there, my lowest note is a D2, and my highest comfortable note, keyword comfortable, is C4, or middle C, which for a chest note is quite low in my opinion. Now because of perfect pitch, I know my vocal range, that's great, but the problem began when my ears couldn't turn off and I couldn't help but just measure exactly what notes were being sung in any given song, especially the ones that I loved. For example, I'd be vibing along to, say, Budapest by George Ezra. Until the moment I heard the chorus and how it began on a belted F4. To be honest, I was like, damn, that's like 4 semitones above my highest note. And that is what got me. It took barely even a second for my brain to go, yep, middle C is here, F4 is here, you can't sing that, there's no way you're gonna be able to get there. It's such a strange kind of barrier that my brain just automatically puts into play just like that. And so whenever I heard this song again, right before the chorus, my brain would remind me, oh yeah, it's in F4, so you can't sing that. And I don't know what it is about that, but that constant reminder kind of put me off. And I would find myself having to strain my voice just to hit F4, which isn't even a high note. Or I could have flipped to my falsetto and hit it like that, but it would just sound awful. And I would just disregard the tone, even though for some reason the pitch mattered the most to me. The more I analysed a song, which because of perfect pitch was a lot, the more unconfident I felt while singing. Even after several years of trying to sing, my highest comfortable note has barely even moved. Now, I'm not sure if that's incorrect technique or whatever, but still, it's been the most difficult skill to actually work on, and the skill that I've progressed the least in, given the amount of work I've put into it. The second drawback of having perfect pitch is that my brain doesn't settle if I hear a song that's not where it's supposed to be. For example, one time I was driving and the radio was playing Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day. Now to my partner who was right next to me, it sounded like Boulevard of Broken Dreams. But I could notice straight away that the song was pitched half a semitone above from where it was supposed to be. Seriously, who cares, right? But obviously my brain did, and I know for sure that no one would complain about such a trivial thing, but it just didn't sound right. Anyway, if you're still watching, then thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.